Welcome
What is going on?
to another week.
Another week of We Made It.
Yeah, and we have
What?
a guest.
We have a guest.
and
Is it Colin? Is it Colin, I guess?
and he also we made it to Tuesday.
Yeah.
I haven't We Made It to Tuesday in a while.
Oh,
It's now Morale Check Monday, but
gotcha.
it's some form of that. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so who are you?
Little.
Who am I?
And
That's a
how
great
did
question.
you get here?
I have no idea how I got here.
Okay.
Someone pointed me in the direction, and I just landed here.
Awesome.
My name is Leroy, and I'm a friend of Colin's,
Yes.
and now I'm a friend of Jenna's. So
yeah, we're besties now. How long have you and Colin known each other?
since January 2015.
No.
Yeah.
That's been a long time, you guys.
I was like, that is so specific. I don't even, if someone would have questioned me about it, that's when you got to regiment, eh?
Yeah, well, I remember my first day. In fact, it's the first chapter of of a book that I've written, which will not be published for 10 or 15 years.
Yeah. It's the tell-all tale of being in uniform.
That's correct.
So, you guys met in regiment? Is that the
Yeah,
correct
we met at
term?
work. I remember that day too. You guys were all lined up in the scent room, and the CO introduced you to everyone.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And he was not impressed. Believe it at that. He was just not impressed. Yeah, that was our first day. Our first day at work. But I had been in the forces for a while before that. Actually joined in 2003.
Oh,
to,
wow.
Help pay for school.
Okay.
I joined in the reserves, and then eventually I went full time. And then I accidentally ended up in the Armor Corps and met Colin. And
Yeah, it's an accident for a lot of people. Yeah,
it was an accident. I mean, I'm grateful. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the whole experience. I wouldn't change anything about it, but
So, are you still enrolled?
I am.
Yes. Nice.
Yeah, I am. It'll be 20 years in June.
That's wild.
insane, man.
Got in. Yeah,
That's a
it was
big
18
chunk of your life. Yeah.
when I
keep forgetting
enrolled.
you're old.
That's right. You see my. You see, this is what I call street cred. This
Yeah.
gray hairs here.
It's
That's
like
street cred.
It's like the inspiration behind the white streak of hair for Storm, or no, what's her name in
Rogue.
in X Rogue? Yeah, yeah.
Rogue.
Just that
Jenna,
one patch
to the
of white
rescue.
hair. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got a complimentary one on the bottom half.
Yeah, it's more apparent when there's a full beard there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, as Jenna mentioned, you've got quite a history of your own media involvement. Do you want to walk us through a bit of some of your projects that you've been working on?
Sure. I'll start by saying I was completely off of social media for about 2 years, from about 2017, 2018 until 2020. I was done with it completely. There's just a lot of toxicity, a lot of nonsense. I found I was just wasting time on it. And before the pandemic came to Canada, before we imported it, I planned on starting a video. That's right. I was starting a video project where I was going to be showcasing people's cars. I went to cars. That's like one of my things. So I came back to social media, and then surprise, pandemic hit, can't leave our homes at all. So that died immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to ask a question.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I guess that put a little bit of a little bump in the road for you in this project, right?
Yeah. So the project
intended.
Car pun intended. Nailed it. Yeah. So I put that down, and then one Tuesday, just on a whim, I thought I'd make a 1-minute video joking about how Monday tried to kick our ass and it was unsuccessful, and that we made it to Tuesday. And I had no intention of making that into a series at all. I just thought it was a clever thing to do. And someone sent me a message saying, hey, that was kind of clever. Do that again next week. And so for about a year and a half, We Made It to Tuesday videos.
Nice. And so this was during the pandemic then.
That's correct. Yeah.
Nice.
And the intention was to just throw out a little bit of positivity into the atmosphere.
My son's talking to me. Hi, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, young man.
Can't you see we're busy?
Aren't you?
You guys
supposed
continue.
to be
I will be right back.
grounded?
Yeah, keep
Mom's
going,
got a
man.
mom.
I'm actually quite interested because I'm sure it was mentioned in one of the videos, but the idea that we made it to Tuesday was about not letting Mondays get you down. That's really awesome.
Yeah, so it's funny. It actually started from a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Right.
You and I have spoken at lengths about this book.
Dale Carnegie.
Dale Carnegie. It's been in print for a million years, long after he passed away. There's a whole Dale Carnegie Institute in the States that has propagated his teaching, so to speak. And I learned from that book that I was actually a total jerk before.
That's
a complete
amazing.
and utter jerk. And I didn't realize it. You know, reading the book made me analyze the way that I was speaking with people. And I'm like, oh, I'm an asshole. Cool. Maybe I need to fix that. So I started working on it. I'm not saying I'm out of the woods, but
Yeah. I don't think any of us
I can see the planes through the trees. So
That's actually pretty awesome. I like that it takes a lot of, well, I won't say self-awareness because I think we all have self-awareness. I think we just choose to ignore it at times when it's easier and more convenient for us to carry on the way we are. But to look yourself in the mirror and be like, yeah, we need to work on this. That takes a lot.
Well, ultimately it was for me. It wasn't even for people around me.
100%. It has to be.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not content with who I am and what I'm doing. And so I needed to make a change. And so I'm like, cool, let me spread some of that around. And we made it to Tuesday. And then, I ended up taking a break from that earlier this year and then kind of re-rolled it into Morale Check Monday. And so I've been carrying on with that every week, just a 2-minute, 3-minute spiel about something that I think of. Honestly, usually I think of it last minute, it just hits me and I go find some decent light and make a video out of it and upload it.
With the, I'm just pulling up your Morale Check Monday. With the, we made it to Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
How did you gauge the response? Was it something you expected, or was it something that was unexpected? So, and was it more or less positive or negative? People liked it, I think, eh?
It was mostly, it was positive. It was either people said nothing or there was a positive response. I gauged the success of each week by what kind of conversations happened. Either one-on-one, someone would shoot me a message on the side saying, hey, I needed that, thanks. Yeah. Or someone would make a public reply and then there would be a conversation as a result of that. But the biggest thing that made me realize that it was useful is when I stopped doing it. 2 guys at work actually pulled me aside and said, we're upset that you stopped.
Oh, wow.
And that was kind of like, oh, okay. Like I needed to, I had whatever. I had stuff going on and I needed to take a break, just kind of pull back and do my own thing. Mm-hmm. But when these guys said, we look forward to it, like get back on the horse, that was a motivator to keep it going. Welcome back, Jenna.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm back.
Is your son all right?
Yeah, he's fine. He just,
need a little NyQuil.
He maybe definitely does, but no, it's like his second week of school, and so he's like very emotional at the end of the day. So sometimes
like second week of school ever.
Yeah, he needs like extra
JK.
snuggles and stuff. Yeah, he's in the JK now.
I can dig
big
it.
leagues.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
So
is that your older kid? Do you have more than one?
He's my oldest. Yeah, so he'll be 4 in November, and first kid to school. It's pretty exciting. Yeah.
Cool. Good for you.
So, sorry, I just caught kind of the tail end of what you were saying. What was how did you feel doing these? So you said like towards the end of doing them, or before your coworkers pulled you aside to say you need to do these again. Like, how are you feeling with it? Was it just like a chore? Were you like really into it every week? And then you were like what? Yeah.
I think it's impossible for anything that is routine to not sometimes feel like a chore.
Okay.
Because as you both know, it is difficult to generate inspiration on demand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And something that I think helped set myself up for success is that they were brief.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what
I
was your
wasn't
goal
creating-
for time? Or did you have
no
one?
specific goal, but like 1 to 3 minutes.
Okay.
And it was really based on my own attention span.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
like, okay, I need a hook. I need a hook and a couple of funny things and something useful, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because that's all I can handle. So
Short
I can only fathom.
essays. Yeah.
Exactly. Use your 5-paragraph essay, grade 6 style.
I remember seeing a commercial when I was younger. Or no, it was a comedian. And he's talking about how above ground pools are so shitty. And he goes, you ever wonder why above ground pool commercials are only ever 30 seconds long? Because that's the maximum amount of time you can picture yourself having fun in an above ground pool. I find that statement very relatable to your choice of length for your shows.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes it's a chore. I think it was more of a chore when I was putting more energy into editing.
Okay. Yes.
I was using an editing software and being a little bit clever with putting things together. And then I thought I would kind of ditch that part and focus a little more on content.
Yeah.
So just wait until something would kind of strike me as something useful to say. And most of the time, and I've said this in a few of my videos, it's something that I'm saying to myself.
Yeah.
It'll be something that I'm
Okay.
like reminding myself, Leroy, you need to do this more. You need to stop being a jackass. You need to be kind, or whatever it is. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe other people could stand to gain from this piece of
Okay.
advice that I'm giving myself.
Yeah. Spread the
It's a-
joy.
It's a similar sort of sentiment that we've had on this show.
Mhm.
In that a lot of at least I know I've said this, and Jenna, it's probably the same for you for some things. But the things that bug you the most, or the things that you wish would change the most in the world, are the things that bug you the most about yourself, or the things that you need to improve the most. And I think speaking them into reality helps keep them forefront in your mind and
Right.
working
Absolutely.
through them. Yeah.
Yeah. Hearing them or saying them out loud for sure puts a layer of reality to it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you stopped the We Made It to Tuesday, and then you pivoted to Morale Check Monday. Is there a huge difference? I've seen them. Did you find that there was a huge difference in the content or the tone, or were you just more inspired or refreshed enough to try something new?
Content is pretty similar. It's
Yeah.
still, try and be a little bit funny, try and be a little bit useful, and that's it. I just do it on Mondays now. Morale Check Monday had some, oops, sorry, I hit my mic there. Morale Check Monday had just good alliteration. And that's it. I just kind of went with it. The title is really inconsequential. We can call it Fuck It Fridays, and it would still be the same kind of content.
Right. Yeah. It's what you're putting out there that defines it, not necessarily the
Now,
title.
Is Morale Check Monday on YouTube, or is it just on your Facebook channel?
It's just on Facebook.
Yeah.
It
just makes it easier too.
It is. I was putting We Made It to Tuesday on YouTube as well. But it really wasn't reaching people. My audience, if you want to call them my audience, is really people that I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or acquaintances, whatever you want to call it. It's not a far-reaching audience.
We know about having a not far-reaching audience.
It's like your 6 degrees, right? So it's like
Yeah.
the people you know or people they know kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's
Friends of friends and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think the sincerity in which you approach is similar to what you two are doing. The sincerity in which you approach the task, if you want to call it a task, is what makes the difference.
Yeah.
If you two start thinking, we want to become famous and make money, you're going to fail immediately.
Right.
People are inspired by passion, right? No one goes to listen to whatever, the Spice Girls, because, they're wealthy. No one cares about their wealth. They're entertaining. They have good music. I was a 13-year-old boy,
Yeah.
that's,
that was going to be my next question, is of all the bands in the world that you could have used for the example,
You know what's funny?
Bold
I
choice.
actually went through 4 other artists in my head, and Spice Girls just the words. If you want to be my lover, just popped into my head. And I was like, yes, I do want to be your lover. I don't know what that means because I'm
actually-
13, but let's do this.
It's quite serendipitous too, because I actually referenced the Spice Girls at work today too, so that's pretty appropriate.
You know what?
Yeah.
They're on your mind, guys.
Yeah.
When are they not?
Yeah. Hey, I just
But no,
finished
it's the sincerity anyway. So like, yeah, I don't care if it reaches a far audience, and that's something I've realized, especially at work, because at work, in any job, you get overwhelmed with trying to affect a useful change. But the way I see it is, if I can influence 1 or 2 people a month, that's worth the energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what a way to look at it. Like, I like the way you said that, like affecting change for just even at work, right? Because that's a huge part of people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And like for you to even care enough about yourself and your colleagues and like the environment to do something like that is awesome.
That's
so
very kind of you.
I feel like that's perhaps why it's been a success.
I think it's important to note too that we talk about affecting change, and this is something that Leroy and I wrestle with at work all the time, because there's sort of a trope that goes around whenever something stupid, some stupid new regulation or rule or whatever mode or method of doing something comes down the pipe. One of the ways that we can get evaluated is one of the metrics that they use is leading change.
Okay.
So whenever something stupid comes along, we're like, oh, someone got their leading change bubble checked. But we have it in our minds that change needs to be this big, far-reaching, far-impacting thing. But it's often the things that are the most impactful are the small things that carry powerful messages and really true, like you said, Leroy, the sincerity, and it speaks to someone. They hear it, they understand that you mean what you're saying, and then they think about it harder.
But those things don't get you promoted, right?
No, but we don't care about
you
that.
Can't, you can't measure those things.
Yeah.
And so I understand why when folks think leading change, they have to make some huge impact or change something so drastically that it's
super noticeable
everywhere. That's just not my thing. Like, I'm not a careerist. I'm interested in progressing in general, but I'm interested in the little changes.
I may have missed, you may have answered this already, but how has this affected change for yourself?
Ooh, good question.
Could
we just circle back to that one?
We can.
No,
I feel
there
like
was a quote. There was a quote that I read last year, the year before, whatever, some time ago, that said, if you want to feel better about your life, I'm going to paraphrase, obviously. If you want to feel better about your life and what you have, go and help someone less fortunate than yourself.
Okay.
And we've all heard and probably used the expression first world problems.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I get pretty frustrated with myself when I find myself wallowing in first world problems. So all I have to do is pull my head out of my ass and turn to someone who looks like they could use a hand in whatever way it is. And that kind of pulls me out of it. So by doing this, it just kind of keeps the I need to be contributing mentality going.
Right.
So by doing it to help others, it's forcing myself to help myself and to just keep it all going.
To be able to give to others, you have to give to yourself as well. Is that kind
of? I think so. I don't buy into you have to be whole to help other people.
For sure. Yeah.
Like, I don't believe in that. I think the concept of being happy, of being whole, of being unbroken is bullshit. Yeah. I think that's all nonsense.
It's impossible.
Because that implies that there are people out there who are whole and that have had this perfect life, but that's absolute nonsense. Like,
it's interesting you say that because I parallel it to like what was, the American dream. There was like this image of what a perfect life looked like. And now I feel like it's the same action. It's just phrased, I'm trying to find my inner happiness and like all of this, right? And not to say that people shouldn't be trying to do things that make them happy. I just think it's the new chase this thing that's like far off in the distance that you think everyone else has and you don't.
And the funny thing is that it's really right in front of everybody already. Like stuff doesn't make people happier. It never has, and it never will. This has been documented throughout history.
It's funny though, because we can't seem to shake that idea.
Speak for yourself. Look how Spartan this room is behind me.
Hey, look at behold my stuff.
By nothing. It's like a painting on the wall and some kind of notebook back there.
That's the notebook Leroy carries around at work to give the impression
that he's doing something
value. Yes,
that's right.
Yeah.
So
he's taking
Leroy,
notes for his Morale Monday.
That's
reality.
right.
Yeah.
Something that a lot of people also might not know about you is that you're a published author.
Self-published. There's a huge difference. Let's put this. No. Yeah, there's a massive difference.
Okay.
There is a huge difference. Okay.
Tell us. Okay, let's start with this. Yeah.
Okay.
Colin needed to get up and walk away for this one.
Yeah,
no, I gotta find his books. I got them both.
Oh, okay.
I think it's important to say that clearly, because every once in a while someone will say you're published and I'll be like, whoa. I'm investing in myself.
Okay.
There isn't so published author, in my opinion, is where you submit a work to a real publishing company and they're like, we like your book so much, we're gonna give you a truckload of money for it. We're gonna print them on our dime, take a chance on you, and you're gonna get some of the royalties.
Gotcha.
Self-published is you use your own time and money and all of that. So Amazon has a subsidiary. It's Kindle Publishing. Costs nothing to use. It only cost me time. So the 2 books that I've self-published so far, I wrote them myself. I did the editing myself. You upload the manuscript and you can create a cover on their web page.
That sounds very user friendly. Yeah,
it is. It is incredible. Well, it's an Amazon thing, right? It's
they've thought of it all.
Yeah. So self-published.
Okay.
Just be very clear.
I'll flash it. Have you spoken about the books yet?
No,
I have not
yet.
Okay, so first in the chronology, we have Solid Oak.
Solid Oak.
Excellent.
So Leroy, you want to talk to us about Solid Oak? Walk us through it.
Oh, I'd love to watch it. Should I do a reading? No.
Yeah.
No.
Leroy, I just opened it up to page 64 and oh my God. NSFW.
Yeah, that's right. It is not safe for this podcast. Okay, so it's a romance erotica novel.
Okay.
The short version is, I'll send you the link after, Jenna, so you can order it.
Thank you. Yes. My birthday's coming. I'll get Jordan to order it for me.
There you go.
I'm not ordering you smut. I'm just kidding. It's a lovely piece of work.
It's smut. Let's be real.
He's like, I've accepted. Yes.
No, I know what it is. It's, this intimate scenes of intimacy are quite vulgar, and that was intentional. That's what erotica is. It's defined by a story that's focused on the sex. For me, it was just an opportunity to write. I just, last December, it was Christmas holidays. I wrote the book in about 3 weeks.
Whoa.
And then
I
spent some time publishing it. It's not super long. It's only about 40,000 words. So that's really on the low end of
It's
romance.
not super long.
I was going to say 40,000 words. That's longer than anything I've ever written in my whole life. So
It's actually a thinly veiled personal euphemism.
Okay.
When he says things like it's not. I'm just kidding. I can help myself.
Yeah. So that was just an opportunity of writing, trying out this Kindle publishing thing, see how it all works. I didn't put a whole ton of energy into it, really. I just wanted to put my foot in the door and see where that took me. So the next book that I wrote, I put a lot more energy into it, Colin's holding it up. It's called The Memories That Made Us.
Cool.
This one is no erotica, but it's romance, historical fiction. This one, I put a lot more energy into it. And it's written in reverse chronological order. So it starts in 2022 and it goes back to 1952. And
wow.
short, it's about a guy and a girl. But it was inspired by a paper shredder, actually.
A paper shredder?
A paper shredder. Yeah.
Okay.
A true artist finds inspiration in the mundane things.
Seriously.
Yeah, without revealing too much about your book, what the hell does that mean?
So telling you about the paper shredder actually reveals nothing about the book.
Okay. Okay, good.
Because the first chapter gives you everything up front. Right? Because it's written reverse chronological. So it gives you everything up front. And the rest of the book explains why this character is the way he is. So I was at work last August. I was cleaning out a new desk that I had to shred a shit ton of paper.
Mm-hmm.
Went down to our orderly room. May I please use your shredder? Yes, sir. Sure, go ahead. And they said, be careful. It's kind of a cranky, moody shredder. I'm like, cool. And it really was. The thing was just like, remember that scene in Office Space? Yeah. Where they're fighting with the printer. He's like, PC load letter. What the fuck does that mean? Yeah. You want to give me that paper? So that was me fighting with the shredder.
Oh dear.
And so I named the shredder Carl.
Okay.
And I was like, Carl's so cranky. Why is he so cranky? And I started joking with our human resource administrator saying, he wasn't always cranky. There must be a reason why he's so cranky. And so I wrote a couple of short stories kind of explaining a little bit about his character. Mm-hmm. And they liked it. And then after I wrote Solid Oak, I'm like, let me take these short stories and turn it into a book. And so The Memories That Made Us was born.
Interesting.
I just want to point out, this is the front, the fronts of the books. They're different sizes, different thicknesses. They're very well published. They're great feel, great paperweight. Like Leroy didn't skimp out on the options. But I just want to point out, look at how good that picture is.
You didn't skimp on the photography either.
My God. What a handsome devil.
Did you take your picture yourself as well?
Yeah. No, actually. I was at work in Ottawa and I turned to one of my subordinates that we'd become pretty good buddies. And I said, dude, I look really handsome today. Can you come take some photos of me? Like,
no way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And he said, yes, sir. Like, what's he going to say? No. So
yeah, you're like, this is a direct order.
Yeah. I mean, it was an unlawful order really, but anyway, so we go out into the lobby and the lighting was terrific. And took that photo.
Wow.
Had to keep it.
Which is a hilarious story. But Jenna, just to address your maybe some of your concerns, we say subordinate all the time, but it's just a textbook term. It doesn't imply any sort of personal feelings about the relationship.
Okay.
Quite often the language is much more we work with each other, not people work for.
It's like a technical term, not like a.
Yeah, it implies it does not imply any sort of misgivings or anything towards.
You're better than them.
Yeah, exactly. It's
even though you are.
No, not at all. Like we don't even use we use the word superiors and subordinates, but it's really just a matter of hierarchy.
Yeah, it's just to just delineate that hierarchy. That's a good point. There.
Yeah, there's the difference between being a better human and being a superior at work. But I think it's important to use a terminology like that sometimes in our job because our job isn't about holding hands and making buds. Mm-hmm. Our job is warfare. That is what we're trained to do. We're trained to fight. Wherever the government wants to send us, that is what we're trained to do. So personally, if someone is going to be upset over that sort of language when we're just trying to do our job, maybe the army is not the place for them.
I was going to say they chose the wrong line of work, perhaps.
Yeah, and that's okay. Yeah. It's not for everyone.
No.
And I'm not saying people are born this way because I was not Army at all when I joined the Army.
Okay.
At all. I was like pre-Army Leroy was a wuss. You two would not like that guy.
No.
He's like, I'm pretty sure current Leroy would beat the shit out of old Leroy.
Oh, big time. And he has.
Too funny.
Yeah.
So the Army has shaped who you've become. Through
Those
your
are
work?
Of course.
sort of like the memories that made you kind of thing. Like
Oh, dang.
Yeah,
just something that
It's-
came
it's-
off the top of my head. I just
Yeah.
I never heard
Yeah.
that anywhere before, even a little bit.
Never.
'Cause I don't regret anything that I've done or that I've gone through. Even like all of the worst parts of my life, from childhood, adolescence, any challenges I've been through, physical pain I've endured at the hands of army training. There's some days where I thought I physically wouldn't make it, but
Right.
you kind of do, and it makes you stronger. It might weaken your knees or your back or something, but
Right.
your spirit
Yeah.
is
Who needs
stronger, right?
those?
Mm.
Wow, that's a problem for future Leroy. But
Yeah, and I mean, they have bionic everything now. So
yeah, totally. I would
Yeah.
kill for titanium legs. That'd be awesome.
You know what? I didn't know this because we've obviously, at least Leroy and I'm not sure about Jenna, but a lot of people get bad knees and hips in the military. And I didn't realize this, but you can only have, I think, one hip replacement. Like your hip can only be replaced one time.
it makes
Like
sense.
each one, or you can
Each
only have
one can
out
only
of-
be replaced one time. So like,
Yeah, I mean, if they replace it and you screw it up again, it's probably your fault at that point.
yeah, but so
Yeah.
what becomes a problem is timing it. So when
Yes,
do you have
yeah.
the surgery? Because if your knees are screwed now and you're too young, you
Yeah,
got to wait
yeah.
Yes.
until you're old enough that your new hips are going to last you until.
So wait,
Yeah.
it's hips, knees you can have redone, as far as I know.
I don't know.
I've exhausted my knowledge on
Oh, okay.
replacement surgeries. I just heard that
So-
somewhere.
Like my dad had his hip replaced, and I think they gave him like a 25-year
Like warranty.
window. Yeah, they were like, this has
It's not
to
like
last.
Costco where you're like,
They like branded
no,
the
give me a new
scars. Like
Yeah,
no,
this is
take
it.
it back to Costco, get a new one and a hot dog
yeah,
oh,
and a poutine on the side.
and a poutine. Yeah. I had poutine last
Um,
night. So good.
I'm all about those chicken tendies and that shit fucking dipping sauce. Oh yeah.
But
Sorry, Jenna.
yeah, a friend of mine. Sorry, no, my friend had due to an accident, she had to have knee replacement surgery, and they said like, I think it was 15 to 20 years. I can't remember, but it was like a decent amount of time. But she knew like I'm gonna have to get these done again later. So
Mhm.
I believe that means, like, my understanding is that they can replace the knees again, but not your hips. It makes sense. Like, your hips are such like a large, like, motor function. Like, yes, you need your knees, obviously, but
Yeah.
anyway.
There might be some calculations there for how much trauma of surgery your body can actually handle.
Yeah, I was going to
That's
say that
fair.
too. Because
Done.
there are so many nerves that go around your pelvis too. Like they follow
Yeah.
the bones and stuff. So to get it
And it's
in
close
there,
to your back, your
Yeah.
spine. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So, anyways, all this to say,
Leroy. Sorry, we're going to pivot again.
No, go.
Or pivoting.
Leroy is a never-ending whirlwind of ambition.
Oh, I thought you were going to say shit show. That would have been far more accurate.
That's going to be for the.
But
is
I like
that your
I liked what you
internal
said.
monologue? Is that what your internal monologue tells you?
yeah,
Yeah. I like what Colin said though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
try and
Agree.
internalize that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I only have so much filter energy in the day. I don't use any of it at work, and I save it
Obviously.
all for the show.
That's smart.
Mhm. The
Thank
things
you.
that matter.
Mhm.
You have another project on the go right now. You want to walk us through what this is? It's got logos and branding, and or is it a
shameless
business?
shameless garage?
Yeah,
Is that what you're talking about?
Shameless Garage. I just
Shameless
wanted,
garage.
Yeah,
You just
wha-
wanted me to say it.
yeah. Just tell us what it is, what it's
I got
about,
it.
and what you plan to do with it, or hope
Okay,
to
wait.
do with it.
Wait. Can I guess? Does it have
Yes.
something
Yeah.
to do with the project you wanted to start before the pandemic? Or no?
I mean, it has to do with cars, but not really about the
Okay.
videography and all
Okay,
that.
okay.
this is kind of
All
something
right.
you've always been kind of working towards, maybe, or interested in.
No, not even. It really my
I'll just be over here fucking myself then. Okay. Trying to
well,
help.
it came out of nowhere. But really around the time you and I met, I started getting interested in muscle cars,
Right.
just as a concept. And I thought, it'd be cool to learn how to work on vehicles. So when we moved to Ottawa, I took a small engine repair course, And it started with me just fixing like snow blowers and lawnmowers, lawn tractors, really basic stuff like that. And it turned out you can make money doing that. You buy broken stuff, you fix it, and you sell it for more. City people can't fix anything, which is fantastic. So the only challenge there was trying to beat out the retired guys to pick up all the broken stuff, because these dudes figured out the internet somehow. I don't know who the hell taught these old guys the internet, but they're on it.
There's
and they are
boomers who
hunting
know
down.
how to use the internet. What?
They're even older than that. These are like
Whoa.
60, 70-year-old dudes driving around, picking up. Anyway, God, they figured out Kijiji. It was awful. So I'm competing with these OGs trying to get all this stuff. But the intention was to get into cars, to get into working on cars. And so Shameless, the name Shameless just came about recently this summer. I have a really good friend of mine. He's also in the Army, and we both love cars and we both love working on them. We're not particularly great at it. It's a learning process, but we bought a car together a couple of months ago as a project. The intention was to work on it together to make it streetworthy and then sell it and try and make a few bucks. So we've done the working on it and the streetworthy part, and now we're waiting for the right buyer to come along.
That's really cool.
So we were trying to think of a name for our garage. And actually, it was my wife who suggested the idea of Shameless because, well, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
She walked in and we were working. She's like, Shameless Garage, 0 fucks given. So
that's awesome.
Only thing I can promise you is it will be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the idea of 0 fucks given isn't about our indifference, but the idea is that everyone ought to feel welcome in our workspace.
That's
I don't
fantastic.
care what kind of car you drive. I don't care what shirt you wear. I don't care what color your skin is. Like, it's a place where I want anyone to feel welcome. So Shameless Garage is maybe in the future will be a business. Like if I had it my way, if I could snap my fingers and change things around, I would be full-time writer and full-time working on classic cars.
Interesting. Okay.
What a combo.
So
eh?
Yeah.
Just like,
yeah. And maybe they'll like, what was the word? Crisscross at some point. But yeah, those are the two things that I enjoy doing.
now,
You're like major passions.
what was the
you'd
first
say.
car you restored?
I wouldn't use the word restoration because the implications of restoration, it's like major body overhaul.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
But the first car that I guess I worked on, I bought a 98 Chevy pickup truck for like $3,000. And I worked on it just a little bit, very, very minor stuff because I was afraid. The truth is I was afraid to make a huge mistake, to cause irreparable damage or something. But it just kind of crept from there. And, between last year and this year, my friend and I worked on a couple of projects together. This was the first time we actually bought something together, but we worked on about 4 or 5 vehicles since last year. And working together actually helped bolster our confidence because we had someone to bounce an idea off of.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, I'm going to do this. And the other person could say, that makes sense, or, consider this and that. And then it just,
grow from there.
Yeah. Be the feedback that you need. Sometimes just saying or explaining something out loud helps iron out the kinks, right? So did you
doing
feel like
anything
you're able to
with a
do
partner
that?
is kind of, absolutely. I think any endeavor by yourself is, first of all, boring. Can you imagine, like, if you guys were trying to podcast by yourself? You're just,
I
Jenna,
did.
I'm Jenna,
It was
and just,
boring.
oh, really?
I did.
Wow. Nailed it completely. So podcasting by yourself sucks. Obviously, it's way more fun with a partner. You two obviously have a pretty good synergy that is developed. I can hear the difference in the way you speak to each other now and around each other now than some of the earlier
Oh, nice.
podcasts that you guys have had.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah. We I think
You should come on
Oh,
back.
I wouldn't be here if you two hadn't grown. I'd be like, no, you need another year of development before we have this conversation.
this podcast sucks. I do not want to be a guest on it. Wow. So now there you have it, folks.
Did you
A stamp of approval.
what was the Roadster? I don't know, I'm not using the right term. The red car.
Yeah, it was a hot rod. It's called a T-bucket.
Okay, yeah.
So basically it's based on a, Jenna, for your benefit, it's based on a 1923 Model T Ford. So if you can imagine like an old jalopy, when bootleggers needed to go fast, they had to make the cars lighter with more horsepower.
Got it.
So this came with like chopping off excess weight because they were all steel vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
So getting
Super
rid of
heavy.
fenders.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting rid of just parts. So this is basically one of those with no fenders, no roof, and no engine cover. So the engine is there on display.
Wow.
A shitload of horsepower and not a lot of weight. Like a ridiculous go-kart, grown-up go-kart.
Nice.
Yeah, that thing was awesome.
So was that one of your earlier projects? And was this one you did with your friend?
I bought it on my own. We worked on it together a lot, but I rushed the purchase.
Okay.
Oh,
And that's like in this hobby, there's a lot of money wasted.
Mhm.
And I'm going to steal an expression that my friend uses with respect to stocks. He's a big investor guy.
Mhm.
He talks about paying tuition. So I've paid several $1,000s, probably more than that, in tuition in the car, the field
The
of
car
cars.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's an interesting way to put it. I like it because it's one of those things like we were talking earlier about. I wouldn't change anything about my past because it's helped make who I am today. And in my mind, I was thinking no regrets. Not even
right.
one
Not
little
even.
but
Not even.
but the meaning is true. Like paying your tuition is like you didn't waste the money. You learned a lesson.
Mhm.
You
Yeah, and
took
that's the way I
something
see
from it. Yeah. And that's a really positive spin on something that might be negative enough to someone to turn them away from pursuing it further.
Mhm.
And it could have had, but the thing is, like, I haven't used any credit to pursue this hobby.
Okay.
It's always
Nice.
cash that isn't like family cash,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's like, it's my own cash. If I blow it and I lose it, that's on me and affects nobody else but me.
Nice.
Mhm.
And so as long as I keep it that way, then it's totally fine. But, I started this hobby in my 30s, whereas many people start at 10 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old with their parents or their friend or their neighbor in their garage.
Sure.
So I'm catching up on like 20 years of lost learning.
Time.
So I got to blow some stupid money on some hard lessons real quick.
Yeah.
And then we can
So that
move
you
on
can
to
catch
actually
up.
being exactly.
Oh.
What would you be comfortable talking about what you think your most expensive mistake would be, or your most valuable lesson? Maybe is a better way of putting it.
Interesting.
I
think the most valuable lesson is simply patience.
Okay.
Because there's, for example, that hot rod, I rushed that purchase. I paid $13,500 for it. Honestly, it was maybe worth 10. And I learned that immediately when I got it, because I thought it was in much better condition than it actually was.
Okay.
And so
So
that
was
was
this
a
a
lesson.
sight unseen type of purchase?
No, I had seen it, but
Okay.
I didn't take the time to have it inspected thoroughly enough.
Okay.
Because I didn't understand enough about the vehicle and those types of vehicles, the hot rods, to make an assessment myself. So I rushed the purchase for whatever personal reasons. And so that was the big lesson. I thought that if I didn't get it at that specific time, I was going to lose out. But the reality is that there is always another cool car. So similar to anything else, there's always that next interesting thing that you might find or stumble upon. Yeah.
Gosh. I feel like, so did you have any knowledge or interest in cars? You said you started sort of this passion in 2015, but like previous to that, it was
Not
like
to this
nothing.
degree.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, I had like a bit of an appreciation for cars, like I went to Scholastic Book Fair at school and I had my Lamborghini poster and bookmarks that I picked up with my goosebumps, like
R.L. Stein for life.
a little R.L. Stein, right? So yeah, I mean, I always had a fair appreciation for cars, but I didn't know anything about them. There was no one in my family who was really into it.
Okay.
So there was no one to guide me in that until I kind of got there myself.
Mm-hmm. And that's like something you can continue to learn indefinitely, right?
Yeah. And because it's not my actual job, I can take pauses when I feel like I need a break from it.
Yeah.
Like right now, I bought this car, and right now I haven't touched it. in a couple of weeks because I don't have to, and I just don't feel like it. So
yes, yeah, you can work on it when your heart feels like it needs to.
Yeah,
cool.
I really like what you just said. I don't have to because I don't feel like it, and I know I deal with this personally, but I get it in my mind that I'm here now, and I want to get to here, and I fill in the blanks with that journey, what that process looks like, and I beat myself to a pulp when I don't do it every day, or I don't put in the effort every day. And it's like, hey, just cut yourself some slack. There's a whole world going on around you. You can meet competing priorities and all these pressures and stresses. Just take the time to enjoy the things. If you don't enjoy doing it, what's the point in doing it?
Yeah,
and I think that's a really important
passion.
Yeah. Sorry,
I also think it helps to have multiple passions.
Yeah,
you need them. Like you can't. Sorry, I don't want to say you can't. If you only have one, and it's not working out, and that's the only thing you can do or want to do or believe that you're capable of doing ever, it's going to be a really rough time, right? Some people have some natural talent and they couple that with hard work, and that's great. And those people figure that out. They're like, I'm talented, and they go for it. But I've always been a jack of all trades, and I like it that way because I enjoy being able to talk with anyone about any topic of interest that they're interested in.
Yes.
Right. You can find
so I can talk about cars. I can talk about me. So when I don't feel like working on cars, well, I can write. I can practice piano. I can play on the computer. I can whatever. Ride my one wheel around. So what you're saying
is you don't like idle time.
I don't love it. No. No.
That's okay.
But I don't feel stressed to like fill. I'm not like, I got 15 minutes. I can be productive and further this hobby. Like I don't feel that way.
You always have something to occupy.
I can vouch for that.
That's right.
You've been to where?
Bohunk Lodge.
Oh, Bohunk Lodge. That's it.
Oh, okay.
That was my office last year. I got to reference the office space again. Remember the character Milton, how they kind of move him around and shove him into random closets. So I was put into this weird side room that wasn't actually an office because my position last year was made up. It was an afterthought that every once in a while, like,
that makes you feel good.
It wasn't an afterthought. They're like, oh, you know what? We've needed this position for a long time. We've got Leroy. Son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah, but then when I moved on from that position, they nixed it. It's no longer there. So it's totally... Anyway, so I had this little Milton side office. And I think the actual name of the room was like Beau Revoir or something. And me and this other guy started calling each other Bohunk, which is an expression I got from Adventures in Babysitting. And it became Bohunk Lodge. It was just a place for the other captains could come and just sit. No one's around. It was quiet. It was just Bohunk Lodge. They just come, sit 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, damn. Colin took at least 3 to 5 naps there throughout the year. He'd come in, I'd close the door, turn out the light, and I'd just keep working, and he would just take a 5-10 minute breather.
So, you know
close his eyes and get back to work.
It's funny on the face of it, but Leroy just inadvertently
threw you under the bus.
No,
no, deliberately under the bus.
I don't work there anymore. Promotion boards are next week, and I'm pretty sure the career manager doesn't watch this show.
That's the irony, is that today is the day that J-Rock is like, you know what? I heard about this Cat McNaughton.
And both Leroy and Colin are on it, so we're going to watch.
We're going to get a follow-up email from the career manager, be like, these two captains are never ever being promoted.
We just got blacklisted.
They nap on the job. What?
So I was trying to make a serious fucking point, guys. Jeez.
Sorry, go on.
Leroy, apologize for nothing. He went full circle because earlier he talked about his desire to help himself by helping other people. And I mean, our lives were pretty busy last year, and there was occasions where I went in and sat down, and I kind of just like, one of those like big deep breaths. And he's like, "Hey man, you look tired." Yeah, he's like, "You look tired. Why don't you take a nap?" He'd get up, turn off the light, and go back to work. And I didn't feel like he was mocking me or making a joke. Like, I felt the sincerity, and honestly, I had a couple 5-10 minute naps, and some of them were probably a bit longer, and they were fucking needed, and they were glorious, and I owe you a debt of gratitude for supporting me, Leroy.
I feel like
That's the
what
least
a
I can do.
move, though. Just like you look like you need a nap, and not like waiting for a response, just like turning the light off and being like, is this happening?
Oh yeah, talk is cheap. Talk
Yeah.
is a waste of energy. Just do. Do. Someone needs a blanket. Can I get you a blanket? Who cares about their reaction? If you're waiting for their reaction, you're not doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, that's a
If
good
you throw
point.
a blanket on someone without saying anything, I observe that you're cold. Here's a blanket. I don't care if you react.
It was intentional. Yeah.
That's another really important thing. And this again goes back to what we were talking about, where the changes you can affect in the world don't have to be big. You bring someone a blanket, you notice something and you take action. And I'm not saying this because that's how I live my life. It's something I struggle with. But I think it's a really great point that you made, Leroy. And I think if people did that more, how considerate do people think of you? And then how cared for do they feel when you do something like that?
Leroy, how awesome do you think you actually are? And,
it's not coming out the right way. What I want to say is if the person who's cold gets the blanket, they feel cared for. They feel like they matter, and I think that's a really easy way to make people feel important, and that's a wonderful thing.
And that's something you've brought up before as well, Colin. Like I think most people just want to feel like they're seen or heard or what have you. And it's in those little actions that seem maybe meaningless in the moment that you're able to like give that to someone, you know?
Yeah. Leroy, before we get, because we're going to have to wrap this up here shortly. I got 2 questions for you, and then I kind of want to turn it over to you if you have any sort of. I actually have 3 questions for you. In any of your pursuits, whether it was writing the book, doing your We Made It to Tuesday, or Morale Check Monday, or the garage, were you ever intimidated at all by the thought or then the action of beginning these pursuits?
Of course. Fear of failure is ever present.
And how did you manage that?
I just told myself to get the fuck over it and get on with it.
Ooh.
It helps that I'm not like financially dependent on these pursuits.
Okay.
Right. I have a day job, so there is no stress financially related to these things. But the reality is that you know me, I don't love hard work. I'm a fairly lazy guy.
You know me.
I'm pretty clever, but I'm pretty lazy. So there's fear of like doing hard work. And the reality is, if anything, if you want to be good at something, it's going to take a lot of energy and a lot of work. So, but also a lot of time. So that it was a combination of, I was afraid. Starting is always the most difficult part.
Yeah.
Always. When I sit down to write, just sitting down and beginning is always the difficult part. Once I put one word down, then 2,000 words later, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to go to work now.
Yeah.
Now, at any time in any of these pursuits, did you ever feel like an imposter? And you know what I mean when I'm saying imposter? Like,
I know exactly what you mean. We've had this talk before. No, ironically, I felt more like an imposter
not
work
doing them?
at work in our day job.
Okay.
Than in doing these things, because
that's so interesting.
Because when I write and when I work on car stuff, I'm entirely myself. I don't have to hide any aspects of my personality to be in line with
expectations
or anything. Yeah. And I'm not saying I want to strip down and do anything crazy at work, but I think in any professional setting, it's difficult to be yourself, completely yourself, because the reality is there's aspects of all of us that we don't want to show maybe to people. And when I write, I feel free. And when I work on cars, I just get pissed off because I'm not that great at it. So I'm going to keep working on that too.
But it allows you like growth and just like an outlet, right? If nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a really powerful statement too. I feel more at home pursuing my interests than I do sometimes at the place where I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
The
Pursuing your interests.
It's very interesting dynamic, and it's an internal struggle. But I'm really grateful, and I'm very happy that you found avenues to pursue, ambitions to chase, and ways to be who you are. Because I agree with you 100%. And like you said, we have these conversations, and I often don't feel like I can be who I am at work because the military's not designed for guys like us. We're highly effective in our roles, but we're also like super duper not the stoic leadership kind of types, which is something that I think a lot of people expect.
That's interesting. Do you think it takes a certain, like, do you think you're better at your jobs because you have these outlets? Or do you think the people who are like ingrained in this?
Well, you've made the poor assumption that we're good at our jobs.
Oh, okay.
So what a dumb fucking question.
A strike against you. Actually, that's strike 2 against you. Good thing we only have a few minutes left.
I know, right? We're not going to make it.
I don't know that it makes me better at my job. I really don't think so. I've always felt like a creative person. If anything, I feel creatively stifled.
Okay.
In the professional setting.
Yeah, there's only so much latitude you have to do the job that you've been asked to do the way you want to do it.
Gotcha.
And that's okay.
Because there's so
right?
many
At the end of the day,
guidelines.
It's a combination of red tape, and at the end of the day, you have to say yes sir, yes ma'am to whoever's giving you instructions.
Yeah,
right?
Got it.
Now, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's the business at the end of the day.
And I actually like the structure. I really do. I've enjoyed the structure of the military. But, free time is free time.
And that's a good point too. Like it's whatever your job is and whatever supports you and your family, it doesn't have to be diametrically opposed to the interests that you have on the side. Just because they're different doesn't mean they can't coexist and support you wholly. They can both give you what you need without being negative in their on their own, I guess.
Yeah.
Diametrically opposed. Wow.
I had to Google that word right before I said it just to make sure.
I was going to say, do you have like a list of words behind
I've got
your
3
microphone where you're like,
and I got these. I got like
these words.
I got the Joe Biden fucking like teleprompter going here. It froze earlier. That's why I didn't say much, but
oh man.
So yeah, I did say we don't have a whole lot of time left. That's a bit of a lie. We can go on for as long as we want, as long as the conversation goes. But I guess one last thing I would like to hit before we wrap up, and I'll turn it over to you for the wrap up, Leroy. But I want to know, we started the show so that we could have a creative outlet for ourselves to become better individuals, better, at all the aspects, all the different, cross sections of who we are as individuals. What message would you like to send to people to be a little bit better, to be, to improve their lives just a touch? And, or, I don't know, what advice, like, what do you want to tell people?
I think if I could go back to adolescent Leroy, I would simply tell him, be honest with yourself every single day. Because it is lying to myself which has created the problems and the problems that I've dealt with in my life more than anything else. Is trying to convince myself of fact A for whatever reason, whether it's outer influence, inner influence, when fact B was correct, and every fiber of my being was just screaming to pursue fact B. So even in adulthood, people get unhappy with their work. They get unhappy with their home life, children, whatever it is. But we have a bad tendency of lying to ourselves about it's going to be okay, or I just have to wait until this and then I'll feel better. Just be honest with yourself because then you'll face the problems, and at least you will know the problem. You might not have the solution, but at least the problem and the source of that problem will become more clear, and then you can deal with it better.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting you say that. I think that might stem from people, kind of what we talked about earlier, like pursuing that happiness goal or that American dream, whatever you want to call it, and thinking that they have to follow, this course that other people have told me I need to pave for myself, instead of paving your own course. And so I think, if I'm understanding correctly, that's kind of what you're saying, like,
absolutely. And
follow
that
your
comes
heart
from
and your intuition.
media,
Yeah.
comes from family, religion,
Mm-hmm.
watching too much of whatever show. And even for myself,
Right.
like I thought the whole purpose of life was to get married, have children, have a job.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had all of those things and I was still a cranky piece of shit. And I realized, okay, well, clearly this is not the raison d'etre. So it led me to just look inside and
Perfect.
be like, okay,
classy.
what am I? Well, I got my test on Tuesday.
Shelves. One of my favorite shows, actually my favorite show. There are others that I enjoy a lot, but The Office is my favorite
The Office.
show. And there's that scene in season 9 where Jim is talking to Toby about the marriage troubles that he's having. And Pam's upset because he started this business and blah, 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 blah. And Jim says, if she could just wait a little bit longer. And Toby goes, well, how long does she have to wait? It's difficult for someone to sign on to something when they don't know where the end goal is. And your point about being honest with yourself brings up a really important relationship that we often ignore. I don't know if it was Mark Twain or Marcus Aurelius. I can't remember who said it, but it was, we care so much about other people's opinions, but we don't care enough about our own, about ourselves. And I think, nurturing a relationship with you and your person is just as important as any other relationship in your life. So being honest is a really great way to start doing that.
Absolutely.
But what's interesting is I find the people who are the most notorious for being dishonest with themselves is mothers. Moms
Those damn moms.
No, y'alls will tell yourself that things are okay, things are good, and you'll ignore your own needs for so long.
Yeah.
It is maddening to see. I understand what happens, right? And I think it happens to anyone in general who is responsible for other humans.
Right.
Is you got to take care of the other humans, got to take care of the other humans. But if you never take care of yourself, well, you end up just being a shell of a person, and you might screw up the whole upbringing of those people too. Or worse, trying to feel happy about yourself based on the accomplishments of your people, whether they're your kids or subordinates or coworkers, colleagues, however you want to call them.
Now, it's interesting you say that because you hear about these, you see them out in the world, parents who like live vicariously through their kids, right?
Oh, God.
And I think that's kind of what you're describing is they've put all their needs and wants and whatever and dreams aside, and it's like, well, it's up to you now to fulfill those things.
Yeah.
But
For
not
me in
even
a lot of
just,
ways. Yeah.
not even that though, but it's like
That's an
you
extreme,
give up
but
even just the day-to-day stuff.
yeah.
Like, instead of having telling the kids to fuck off and go watch a movie so you can read your book in peace, or I got to get the laundry done, or this has to happen. And I don't know. Do you find it? And this could be for both of you. Like, do you ever get the shoulds? I should be doing this. I should be doing that. And you
Not
can
anymore.
rationalize. You can rationalize one way or the other, but you feel like other people expect you to do one over the other. You really want to do the other one?
Not anymore. With like specifically for parenting, not anymore.
Okay.
My kids are 10 and 12 now, so I've had more time in the parenting realm to get over that. But I started working on that when, so I have a son, he's 12. He lives with his mom in Calgary. We have our daughter at home. She's 10 now. But I started taking time for myself when she was maybe 3. When I'm like, this isn't working. I need some, and it just was simple I'm going to get in the car and I'm going for a drive for half an hour. And at first you feel guilty. You're like, well, like you said, Colin, I should be at home doing this. I should be at home doing, but you know, you can't, if you never take care of yourself, you're just going to be screwed. And you just build up a
callus almost.
Like a callus. Yeah. So even now, my daughter's 10, she has so much more personality. She has so much more interest. She'll just be like, hey, Baba, do you want to do this? And sometimes I just don't want to. And I'll say, you know what? No, I'm going to go play on the computer. But I'll tell you what, how about we do this later or another day or something like that? And, you know, when she was younger, she used to take a little personally, but now she's like, okay, shrugs her shoulders and carries on. So that's for both of you. I encourage you to,
Jenna, what about
be
you?
honest. Be honest with yourselves. Yeah.
Sorry, Leroy, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, that's okay.
Jenna, how do you feel about the question? Do you feel the same way?
Oh, the shoulds? Yeah. Oh, yeah. When I'm with the kids, I feel like I should be doing things like maybe business related. Not as much anymore, but definitely still sometimes are like household tasks and that sort of thing. And then the opposite is true. When I'm not doing stuff with the kids, I'm like, I should be doing stuff with the kids instead. Yeah, so it's like a double-edged sword, but I'm still in the trenches, right? Like Isla's only 10 months.
That's the best way of putting it.
Yeah.
Lobbing poop grenades everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the problems though is if you're always saying I should and you give in.
Yes.
I think children, like those kids, will grow up to think that when they want something, they should always be getting it because that's the way life works at home, right?
Yeah. And that's an interesting point. It's the teaching healthy boundaries, I feel like, is a big part of parenting. A lot of us...
Your job is to prepare them for adulthood, not to shield them from adulthood. We don't get 10% of what we actually want, right? And so if kids grow up thinking that every time they ask for something, they get it, even for that first 5-6 years, that's going to be locked into their brain thinking, oh, well, I guess that's how life works. Great.
Yeah. And then everything is not fair. It's not fair.
Yeah, because life isn't fucking fair.
Life isn't fair, yeah. Jenna, do you have anything else for Leroy?
Oh, I wanted to ask, like, how can people reach you, get a hold of you? Where do you want people to connect with you? Tell us.
You can find me on Facebook or Instagram. So Facebook, Leroy Akiki, AQIQI. All of my videos are public. Facebook, Leroy the Dreamer. Sorry, Instagram, Leroy the Dreamer.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
That's your handle.
Find me there. If anyone wants to shoot me a message, have a conversation, or if anyone has suggestions for things that I could talk about.
Yeah.
I'm always welcoming ideas. I love criticism. I want someone to send me a message one day and be like, you're junk. And these are the 12 teen reasons why you're garbage. So then I can pick out the good ones and, become better.
Use that constructive criticism.
That's right. That's right. I really want to thank you both for welcoming me on your podcast. It's neat. It's I've heard both of your voices without mine included, but it's nice to actually have a conversation. Colin, always a pleasure. You're one of my brothers, dear to my heart. I appreciate the time. And Jenna, you're a peach. It's really been cool talking to you.
Agreed. I feel like this hour just flew by.
Hey, why do I feel like we're leaving his podcast right now?
Wait a minute.
Yeah, he's doing the wrap up for us.
this wraps up another Morale Check Monday podcast. We'll catch you guys next week.
That's so good.
Thanks, Colin and Jenna, for being on my show. I appreciate it.
So, guys, honestly, everyone, Leroy's got over 50 videos on his We Made It to Tuesday, and there are so many valuable nuggets. And we say talk is cheap, but listen to the words, take in the meaning, and apply the shit, and you will have a better day.
Apply
and
it.
then go check him out on Amazon. Buy his book. I don't care if you read it or not, but support him. Give him your money. And then if you
give Amazon your money,
if you have any engine troubles and you live in the valley, you call up Shameless Garage and they will sort you the F out.
Yes.
That should be your slogan, Shameless Garage. We will sort you the F out.
Hey, the slogan isn't set in stone, but I'll have to send you both T-shirts.
Mhm.
Yeah, swag.
So we can wear them on the podcast. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, as long as you're okay with pinup girls, then you'll be fine with the T-shirt.
Yeah.
Classic.
What is? Yeah. Yep.
Classic Leroy.
No, classic garage.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
This has been, in my mind, a fantastic success. You know, assuming that once I press stop, everything saves.
Yeah.
Leroy, thank you so much for taking the time, for
Thank
being
you.
so sincere, and being our first guest on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I'm honored. I really am.
And you will 100% be welcome back anytime you want to.
Yes.
Or the next time we invite you, whichever comes first.
I feel like this just flew by. I still have so many questions, but we'll save it for another episode. So
yeah, if I
Sounds
didn't
good.
have probability and stats homework to do, we could fire away. But
Ouch.
I know
Gross.
I hate my life.
Colin, you can leave. Jenna, you stay.
Yeah, for sure.
too funny.
I'll just listen in. All right.
Thank you.
Leroy the
Thank you
Dreamer,
both so much.
Instagram, Facebook, hit him up.
Mhm.
We'll have
Check 'em out.
Leroy, if you're okay with it, we'll link those accounts into the post on Instagram. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
people can just check it out. And then, thanks everyone for joining us.
Mhm.
Any last words, Leroy?
How do I leave this room?
I will press stop.
We'll help you.
No,
Yeah,
no.
we'll help you.
Final words, please, please, folks who are listening, be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And make friends. Make friends.
Aw.
Try, listen to the conversation we've had. I have a new friend now, and I've strengthened a bond with an old friend. It's been
There you
wonderful. Worth every minute. Can't wait to do this again.
Awesome.
I agree.
Thanks so much, Leroy.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jenna.
Thanks
everybody.
everyone. Yes. Toodles.
Bye now. I got a Bluetooth mouse and it shuts off every 2 minutes, so I got to fucking. All right, I'll cut.